Hello family, we're at Just Dead Honey Tea Company, a wonderful cafe and retail shop in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here with Auntie Africa Miranda, an actor, author, host, and realtor. Hi Auntie Africa, how are you today?
Hi Sweet Bailey, how are you?
I am doing amazing. I just want to say thank you for coming to share with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited about our currently blossoming tea and the conversation we're going to have today. Very excited.
Me as well. So the auntie concept is the dynamic between an aunt and her niece as they have a generational conversation over tea. Okay. The tea is meant to represent the bridge between the young and the old, and the young sitting at the feet of their elders and learning from them.
I love it. I've reached that point where I've fallen the elder category. I'm like, this is new. Just kidding. But no, I love the concept, and it's because I do think, conversations across generations are so important. And I've been very fortunate in my life to have women of all ages, in my circle. And, so when I found out that you were doing this and your mom told me, I was like, it's such a perfect idea. And I love it. So I'm very excited and very thankful to be here with you today.
It's me as well. So the tea we're drinking today is Jasmine Blossoms by Just Add Honey with green tea, jasmine flowers, and clover blossoms. And as you can see, currently in this moment, it is opening up
it is blossoming.
and blossoming into a beautiful pot of tea that we will be drinking. So I'm very excited.
It's very
cool.
It
looks amazing. It's magical.
It is. It really is. That's where you just see the power of nature and and all of this. But it's I've always watched. I've seen videos and people talk about the blossoming teas, and I was like, oh, it's probably no big deal. But I'm all on board now, and I feel like I'm going to be a blossom tea drinker from now on because this is beautiful.
Yeah, I love this. It's very pretty.
It is.
It's just opening up and
it started
itself.
This small, this small,
tiny, just this tiny, everyone, this tiny, and now it's rising up into the clouds and the stars.
Oh goodness!
And it's steeping at the same time too, so it's blossoming and steeping, which is that's very.
And this one is jasmine, right?
Yes, jasmine blossoms. Because I really like jasmine tea as well.
Really? I know we were talking outside when we were trying to decide. So guys, this place has every tea you can think of and then some. And, I was struggling because I love tea and Bailey was trying to get me to narrow down my choices. And I was like, well, I like this one and I like that one. And she's like, ma'am, can you pick one? And it's so many good options. It was really a challenge, but the blossom is what sold me. So, and I like jasmine as well. Sometimes just straight green tea can be a little too strong for me, but the jasmine is a little milder, so I like the jasmine.
It's a flower, so it's really bright and light.
Fragrant, I love it.
If I hadn't found out about jasmine, I'd never think I could drink a flower.
Exactly.
What are you talking about? I can drink a flower? Oh, jasmine tea. I get what you're saying.
Exactly. I can drink it. I know. I'm listening, but I'm also just so obsessed because it is constant. It is with every second that goes by.
It's just opening.
It's just opening more and more.
And that is amazing.
So how much longer do you think we should give it?
Forever.
We're just going to sit here today and let this blossom as our conversation blossoms.
Yes.
Well, we'll check in a couple minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I wanted to start off by sharing a quote with you. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
All right. So I've learned that making a living is not the same thing as making a life. Maya Angelou.
Yes.
Can you share your thoughts on that?
Oh, so many thoughts on that. That's actually one of my favorite quotes, and it was something up until a few years ago. I've heard the quote. I'm always like, yeah, it sounds so good, but I wasn't living it. My living, the busyness and the time I was spent making a living really had become my life. And on the outside, I think to a lot of people, it looked great. I was getting to do a lot of fun and cool things, but I was pushing myself at such a pace that I couldn't really honestly enjoy the good things that were happening, because as soon as something good would happen, I'd be immediately okay, well, what do I need to do next? Or what can I do next? And I found that I was really defining myself by the act of making a living, by accomplishments, versus defining my life and my worth and my value by moments like this, or time I would get to spend with people that I love, or, just the actual human impact I was having, as opposed to creating a thing or being part, of a thing or an object. So I will definitely say that I'm in a space now in the last few years that I am fully living that quote. I am in the business of living a full and present life. And it's just, I didn't think it could be so much better because, you tell yourself, especially when I was younger, everyone tells you like, go to school and go to college and accomplish, accomplish, accomplish. Everything was about what's the next goal. And I can sit here now like on the other side of it and, accomplishment, I'm not going to tell anybody don't accomplish things, but what I will say is that don't lose sight of the special moments and the real moments and the tangible moments. And by slowing down, I'm getting the opportunity to do that. And it's just it's such a more beautiful life and way to experience life in a kinder way, I think, to yourself as well.
Yeah, because I really think it's important to like live in the moment.
Yes.
Being present.
Yes.
Listening, hearing,
Yes.
seeing, like using your senses to experience the world around you. And notice like the little things.
Exactly.
The little butterfly on the flower.
Exactly.
The cloud in the
Yes.
cool shape.
The tea blooming, you know what I
Right,
mean?
the
But when
tea
you're moving
blooming.
so fast, it's you don't even have 4 minutes or 5 minutes to wait for the tea to bloom. You're like, where's this bag of tea? Let me drop it in, put it in a thermos that I can't even see what's happening in there, and take it on the move. So it's just, I have the time now to experience things like that. And so you're right, these little things like this have become like the most fun and amazing and special moments. So I would really, encourage anyone that's watching. We are so pushed now with social media to accomplish, achieve. And I do think that the balance has been lost. So any advice that I could give someone younger than me would be to always just remember the special moments. But you're doing better than most adults that I know because you are tapped in. And a lot of us have to get to the other side like I am now to get tapped in. So that's a blessing and hold on to that for sure.
Thank you very much. What is a child's place?
A child's place. That's an interesting statement because when I first would hear that phrase, it almost is negative because when you're a child, you're told to stay in your place. Like, you sit at the child's table, don't get an adult conversation. Like, that's a child's place. And I think, it's been framed sometimes that a child's place is like away from like, the important things that are happening. And honestly, I don't agree with that. I think that a child's place is the same place, as everyone else's place. Like a child's place is a place that is safe, that is fun, that is loving, but it should also be the place where everyone else is going through life and experiencing things. I think there is a damage in keeping children so separate from the actual world that when they do get a chance to kind of set foot in it, they're not really prepared for the realities of what the world is. So I don't look at a child's place the way that I think I was raised, which was, again, it's over there somewhere. I love that the children in my life know that their place is like by my side. It's not behind me. It's not, somewhere over there. It's literally like right here.
I think it's important for elders and children to come together. That's why we're doing this series.
Exactly.
To, what's the word, like reinstate?
Okay.
Maybe?
Or reconnect.
Well, yeah, reconnect.
There you go. Okay.
To bring back that little village.
Yes,
to bring
exactly.
back that connection so that children and adults can realize that there's a lot to be learned from a relationship
from
like
each
that.
other. Exactly. Like it's not an adult is here and a child is there.
No.
It's, and I'm not going to say like, oh, we're just in every aspect of life you're unequal, because no, like children do still have to listen to their parents or listen to, their teachers and things like that. Yeah. But I do think that there is a respect, just by nature of being born and being in this world and being alive, you deserve a certain amount of respect, whether you are 5 years old or 50 years old. And I feel like sometimes children kind of get thrown to the wayside. People are like, oh, it's just a kid. Like, they don't deserve an explanation or to be talked to a certain way. And I think that children do deserve that. And I feel like sometimes adults can forget how it felt when we were young and people dismissed us. So I try to remember that, again, in dealing with the children in my life, like don't just dismiss them and their needs and their wants and their thoughts as if they're nothing.
Yes, I very much agree. What period in Black history would you most like to go back to and experience?
Oh, what period? I think a couple. I would love, I'm super obsessed with like the time of like Harlem Renaissance, like where, Black creatives were just, it was everything was about art and music and the theater and, just again, like just this excitement about what we could create and like who we are. So that and then also just the clothes and the whole drama of it all. And I will admit that it's a little romanticized because even at that time, as much as there was a renaissance of our art, we were still extremely disenfranchised as a whole, as a people. But because I am a creative, just something about that era really speaks to me. And I did live in Harlem for a long time. So I loved, knowing that I was living in the neighborhood where the greats and like the people that I admired had walked and had lived. So I'm just, that period of time definitely speaks to me.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be a creative, be an artist, because it's a medium for you to showcase yourself.
Exactly.
In a full and expressive way.
Exactly.
I find art as like a safe place for me. I use a drawing app called Procreate, so I can make little animations, I can make cool drawings, and there's all sorts of features and little pockets of things that I can use to express myself in a full and meaningful way.
I love that. Okay, so it's called Procreate. Now, I cannot draw at all. I love art, but I was always horrible at it and would get so discouraged. Is it good for someone that does not already have like artistic ability, like for like super level 1 or level 0, which I feel like I am?
Yeah, they have like really advanced features, and then they have like the simple pen.
Okay.
And click the color and get
and
a
you
font,
can figure it out and do it. Okay.
Get a font, and get drawing.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out.
It's for anyone, because it can really let you express yourself and like go wild and be free.
Which is definitely important, because I feel like so much of our life, it's like, okay, do things this way and like fit in this box. So to find those little ways, even if it is, like you said, spending time on an app, to find some freedom is so important.
Yes. Can we all be entrepreneurs?
We all can be. I don't know that we all should be, or that we all have to be honest. I've been on both sides. I've been someone who has worked for people, and I am now someone who works for myself, but also with other people, like in partnership. And there's benefits to all of it. I will say that I don't think that I would have been able to do the things as an entrepreneur I've been able to do had I never worked for someone else, or within the structure of a situation. It's kind of almost looking at it saying, can you be a teacher without ever having been a student? And I think that time, as an employee was very necessary. But I also think that if someone decides that, they don't want the responsibility or the pressure of being an entrepreneur, then there's absolutely nothing wrong in saying I've found a profession or a company or corporation or business that I love working within to support and do that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. So there's a big push these days where everyone's like, you have to start your own business. And I want to tell everybody, starting your own business sounds glamorous, but it is. I work more for myself than I ever did when I worked for someone else. It was great to be able to be like, it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, I'm home, and you close the door to your job or whatever, and you are off. When you're an entrepreneur, you're never off. You're always creating and ideating and thinking and stressing about what you need to do and what you need to build. And it can open up a lot of opportunities, but it also can be a lot of stress. And to take it back to that first quote about making a living and making a life, I think we have to ask ourselves, again, if we want to be in the business of like making a life and making a full life, then you can see if being an entrepreneur or an employee fits better, in that goal.
Yeah. Would you like to check on the tea?
I know, I'm like, our tea, we're supposed to be drinking our tea. Okay, I think it's ready. What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
It feels like it is fully
Yep, it feels like
it's reached its final form.
It feels like it's expressed itself.
It is. Let's see, what is it saying? All right, I will pour. You slide your mug over for me, please. There we go. Oh, ooh. Tell me when.
That's good.
Okay. Alrighty.
Now, what sweetener will we be using? The sugar cubes or the honey?
I am a honey girl. What about you?
I think I'm going to go with the sugar cubes.
Okay. It's funny. I was never big on sugar cubes. I think I was telling you about this when we were out there looking at the mint. When I went to Morocco, that was the whole tea experience, is the sugar cubes and the mint leaves, and they pour the water. And I was like, oh, maybe I've been like not giving sugar cubes their due. But I think I'm gonna do honey today still.
All right.
How many cubes do you normally do?
I normally do maybe like 2, maybe
Okay.
3. I don't want to go too overboard because
Let me slide this over.
not too much sugar.
Not too much, but
But it's very fun to use sugar cubes because like the blossoms, they kind of like melt
That's
into
true.
the tea. And I always thought that was kind of cool. And like they melt like super fast, like within seconds.
Oh wow, they already are. Okay.
And that's why I really like them. Because I think they're like some sort of teas and sweeteners. They have like a science behind them.
Interesting.
And like sugar cubes is one of those things. So
I've
they
been
just pack
doing-
the sugar in.
And just, yeah, and it
drop
just
it in, and
goes.
just-
I've been doing coconut
like-
sugar lately.
Coconut sugar. So is it like ground coconut mixed with?
To be honest, I don't really know the science behind it, but allegedly it's like it's like just an alternative to like sugar cubes, and it's brown, but it's not brown sugar, but it's coconut sugar, and it does sweeten. So it's I found like a packet
Coconut
of it,
sugar.
and I was like, oh, I just wanted to try it, and it was good.
And I
So
like
I've been
that
using it
sounds-
like in my smoothies and different little things. I'm still like with my tea. I still do the honey. I haven't done it in my teas yet.
Yeah.
All righty. Okay.
Okay, let's try.
There you go. Oh, this is so good.
Oh yeah.
This is so good. This is so good. I gotta take.
Clover.
Oh my god! I gotta take another sip. You're like a tea sommelier. So like you gotta. Do you know what a sommelier is?
No.
So that is a person who is like trained in wine and being able to like take a sip of wine and break down all the tastes and notes and ingredients and all those things. But I feel like that is what you are for tea. So when you take that sip, like you said clover, and I was just thinking, well, the tea tastes good. I could not break it down by flavor and ingredient. So what do you taste when you taste it? Like what are the different things?
Because I've had green tea and
Right,
jasmine
exactly.
before. That's a flavor I'm used to.
Okay.
But with the clover, it makes it taste different. Like
Yeah, because this doesn't taste like jasmine tea that I've had before.
no, it does.
Tastes
but
better.
But yeah, it does taste better.
I'm like, it tastes better. Oh, this is so
Because the
good.
clover gives it like a richer flavor.
It does.
It makes it stronger. It actually kind of brings out the jasmine more, and the green tea is like the base note. So it's like
Okay.
an undernote to kind of like
Sommelier.
tie it in.
Sommelier, I'm
Thank
telling
you.
you, I'm seeing all your different paths. You're going to do a lot of things, but I see all your paths. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's so cool.
That is very cool.
I'll
It's
be-
like a super tea.
It is. It's so, oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah. I gotta take one more sip.
I know.
It's so
It is,
so
it is.
good.
This is fantastic.
Yep, beautiful.
I'm like you were saying.
Who was your biggest lifestyle influence?
I would say, I mean, this is going to sound a little random, but like, I always say I'm very much like Diana Ross meets Dolly Parton with like a dash of Diane von Furstenberg. So I love Diana Ross. Like I love like from the Supremes to her 70s era to now being like the glamorous grandmother and like this, like I love everything about her. Just everything, how she moves through the world, the hair, the outfits, the whole thing. And so that, and from style, like there's a movie that she did back in, I want to say late 60s, early 70s called Mahogany. And that definitely is like a style point reference, like for me, if I'm going like to an event or like, you know, going out to like do something. And I always use that as like a definite style inspiration. So that would be one. And then for Dolly Parton, it's not so much like how she presents herself as much as I love that Dolly Parton's always been a woman that was never afraid to quote unquote like be in on the joke. Like she very much was, not was, but is, because she's still with us, is in control like of her image and what she creates. But she's also a super accomplished songwriter and creator. But then quietly does so much great work behind the scenes. Like she has a program where she's responsible for most of the children. Like, and there's a program where I want to say in Tennessee where she is, but also a few other states and across the country where she makes sure that children get books every year of their life. Wow. And she also is one of the people that has donated a lot of money to like scientific and medical research. So I love women that are unexpected. And I think when people look at her on the surface, they see the hair, they see the outfits. It's just like, oh, she's just, just a singer, just a country star. But like she has so much substance. And then another woman, Diane von Furstenberg, is another woman that I love because she's just created this wonderful, the iconic wrap dress. So if you see a woman in a dress that looks like a shirt, but it kind of wraps and ties on the side, that is because of Diane von Furstenberg. So anytime someone's able to create something that is iconic and create an empire and it's woman, it just really speaks to me. So I would say those three.
That sounds really cool. I am working on developing my personal style.
Okay.
Where
You got time, but you're doing like fantastic.
Oh, thank you. I like things that are bright, colorful, and that really express me as a person. I see myself as like mellow,
Okay.
bright, and curious all at the same time.
Oh, I like that.
And I try to find things that can express that for me. And I see examples of that not only in people, but in like when I go into a clothing store, I'll see things and I'll like pick out things and like I'll say, hey, that kind of like represents what I might like, or hey, that kind of represents what I think someone else might like.
Right.
What I've observed about other people, and that's always a little bit of like a scavenger hunt for me, because like
Definitely.
it's a way to kind of learn.
Absolutely.
And explore fashion and style and lifestyle. That's what I want to be. I want to be in lifestyle.
Okay. Well, honestly, you're creating that, and you're already in it. You don't have to want to be in it. You've already created, this moment that you've even created with the tea. Like from now on, from any time that I pick up a pot of tea or a mug of tea, I'm thinking about Bailey and the tea experience and the notes and, and how you're able to, create these moments. So I think that's also the beautiful thing, is that we don't always have to wait to be something or wait for something to happen. You kind of take a step back and you're like, oh, it's already happening. So you're already creating, like you don't have to wait to create the lifestyle, you're creating it. But I did love what you said about clothing and, the unexpected and the expression, because I do look at clothes as, it's like everything that we put on our body is a way to tell a story.
Right.
Like how we're feeling today, from your pin to your headband to the denim, you know what I mean? It's like that, like you said, that's the story you were telling today. For me, it was like, this was the story. But tomorrow, it could be a wig and a different outfit and something else. And I'm like, because that's a different story that I got to tell tomorrow. So that's how how clothing and fashion speaks to me. And even, like you said, extending it to lifestyle, because so much of lifestyle is like how you make people feel. Yeah. And I know, I'm sure you had an idea of how you want people to feel when they sit here with you.
Yes. I want them to feel comfortable. I want them to feel excited.
Yes.
I want them to feel ready. And I want them to just feel like, hey, this is my time to shine.
Exactly.
This is my time to see what I feel, express, and have a wonderful conversation.
And you're definitely doing that. So you're succeeding. You're already doing it. Oh my God, this tea is
just so good. So we gotta say it again, guys. It's so good.
And we were taking so much time trying to figure out which tea. Like, I don't know, this one and that one. But I'm so glad we made the best choice. I'm glad we took our time and didn't rush. Yeah. I'm like, that's another lesson.
Jasmine blossoms.
Jasmine blossoms.
Blossoms are the best. Blossoms are the best.
I'm gonna let your tea blossom in your life. Like it's so many lessons here just in this moment. I love it.
What TV shows taught you some valuable lessons when you were young?
Ooh, I watched a lot of television. I still do. I love television. I love movies, don't get me wrong, but like television is my jam. Like I love TV. I'm like, this auntie is a little older, so I'm gonna probably age myself with some of these shows, but when I was young, the Brady Bunch wasn't on TV like in real time. I'm not that old. But they showed like repeats of it. And it was, I don't know, it was just something about like watching this family of like kids of two families come together. There was like, I feel like a lesson there for me about being able to work with people that were different and that, weren't necessarily your tribe, but you could mix with them and like make it work. So I love that. This is also going to sound super random, but like Sanford and Son, because it were like Fred Sanford reminded me of my grandfather. So this is a show about an old black man and his son that lived in a junkyard, and the dad, Fred Sanford, was like this super like grumpy but funny, and my grandfather was grumpy yet funny. So like that, I don't know so much that it taught me lessons as much as it was I saw a part of my life like reflected. And at the time when I was younger, I got emotional. I think about my granddad, but when I was younger, there just wasn't, it wasn't a lot. Like how you can turn on the TV now and from cartoons to show, like there's so many options for you to see yourself. Like I didn't have that. So as much as it's like, as I'm saying it out loud, like it's almost kind of silly that like Fred Sanford like would give me something. It gave me seeing my grandfather, and seeing part of my life like reflected on screen. And what else did I love? As I got older, the show Girlfriends with Tracy Ellis Ross, because, you know, that's, if you want to talk about aunties, those are your aunties right there. It was just those, you know, the sister-friend relationships, and those are going to be the friendships and the relationships that sustain you and that take you through life. Like, I have a group of girlfriends, and we've been friends now for almost 20 years, and it's like, we're going to be friends for another 20 years and another 20, you know, and it's and into the beyond. So it just, being able to see the power of friendships and those different dynamics, it was just a great lesson, like I said, on that friendship and on that sisterhood. And on the fun you have too with your friends, and like the, you know, the ups and downs, and like the fights and the making back up and like those things. So it was good.
Those experiences can all like come together to help form influences, help form one big lesson.
Yes.
Of family, of trust, of friendship. I hear bits of my life and all of those things. And you know, those can really help those can gel together.
Absolutely.
And then form something new. And you can even mix that with what you've learned from your family members, from the world. And
definitely.
you can blend all those together and like create this new idea and these new beliefs about what you think and what you've experienced. And then you can share that with other people, and they can take that and combine it with whatever other knowledge they have as well.
Put it all together. Put it all together. Absolutely.
And then continue to share that with the next generation, the next generation, so on and so forth.
Yeah. I love it. And you got me now thinking about all my shows. I feel like there's one more show that I forgot that was super impactful, and that was A Different World. And so that was about Black college, and I knew I wanted to go to a Black college, but like it 100% confirmed that I was going. And like that, watching that show and then the experience I was able to have, like I'm a graduate of Alabama State University, which is an HBCU. And it was, you know, I always say that it was like the golden time like of my life. Like it was just a wonderful experience. And like watching A Different World, like it just made it like I want to have that experience, and to be able to still have relationships. Like my mentee now is at Alabama State, and like I pledged Delta there, and it was a great time. And again, the importance of seeing yourself in our stories and the influence that has like was great.
That's actually funny you mentioned that show, because I watched that show maybe all the seasons like 5 times.
What are you doing watching A Different World?
My parents introduced me to A Different World, and I loved it so much. I watched it like 2-3 times, all the seasons. And it was actually a good influence for me, because I think I actually want to go to a HBCU because I can get that experience.
Exactly.
And you know, that's actually really cool you mentioned that show, because I really like that show personally.
It's so good.
Auntea Africa. What a beautiful name. How
Thank you, my
important
dear.
is travel and visiting the continent of Africa?
Ooh, well, first, I'll do the first part. One, travel is everything. Like, it is one of my favorite things to do. Like, I've been to over 30 countries, and, you know, I grew up in Alabama, in, like, the rural part of Montgomery, Alabama, which even Montgomery itself is not, it's like, calling it a city is already, like, a stretch. So the fact that I was, like, growing up outside of an almost city, I was obsessed with, like, seeing the world, and it just opened up so much. I don't know, something about travel that just like opens your heart and your mind and your spirit. And then to just see how many, for me, it was like the realization that like the world is brown. I was like, there are so many people that look like us all over the world. And that wasn't the reality of like what I had been taught and what I had been shown up to that point. So traveling just for me has always been like it's almost like it's a reset, because I'm able to kind of just like stop for a second and recharge. But then it's also like a great inspirational moment, because anytime I come back from like walking on a different part of the earth or hearing different languages or smelling different smells and sights and things, I come back ready to just, I don't know, I feel like literally like every cell in my body has been like renewed and rejuvenated, and I'm ready to go. So that's the first part. But travel to the continent is something, it's really, the first time I went to Africa, I was so ready to have like this like Africa in Africa experience. And I went to Nigeria to perform. I was part of a group that was brought there to perform. And, you know, I was like, I'm going, it's going to, you know, we're going to get there. And it was interesting, because when I got there, I never felt more American. And I remember a group, we were like, we felt so sad because we were like, we wanted to feel like we are home. And what we realized was, that by going and visiting, as amazing as it was, it also made me sad because you saw how much like we've lost in like that separation. But you also saw then like how important it is to individually do the work to like reconnect those bonds. So I've been able to go back, like I've been to Morocco, and my family is from a place called Cape Verde, which are African islands, or a cluster of islands off the west coast of Africa. And Cape Verdean people exist because of slavery. Like there are no indigenous Cape Verdeans. Slaves are brought from the west coast of Africa, and then settlers came from Portugal and Britain and all those places. And Cape Verde was a slave trade island. And so that's how the people that were still there, that were a result of the mixing of the slave traders and the enslaved people, or who were still there. And I had the chance to finally go. And I still have family there. And that for me was like that transformative, like coming home moment, because to know that you are literally standing where, your family that you can trace was, and to see like the courtyard areas where the first ships like Christopher Columbus that I had read about in books all my life, you see the plaque where like that's where he came, like one of the places he came first. It was something that I would challenge any person that has that history to like go and visit, because it's such a big part of our story that I don't know that you can fully move forward as a whole person without having like some experience of like touching it and seeing it and feeling it.
That's beautiful, I've actually wanted to go to Africa. I've told my parents that before, specifically Egypt, because I want to go see the pyramids.
Yes, I've always wanted to go to Egypt. Oh my gosh, always, yes.
So I hope I'll get to do that one day.
Oh, you will.
Yes, because I've seen pictures of the pyramids and like that looks cool, but I need to go and feel it, see it, touch it.
No, you'll go. And I will tell you, like, the excitement that you have just from seeing the photo, when you get to see things in person that you've only seen like on screen or in a book, it is like, I felt like screaming, because it's just like stuff is like, it's so incredible because again, you've read it, you've seen it. It's like the first time seeing the Eiffel Tower or, any of these amazing places. Like I remember when I went to Brazil for the first time, and there's this huge statue of Jesus Christ. They call it Jesus de Cristo. And you have to take this like train up a mountain, and you're on like this rickety train, and you get literally to the top, and you're there, and it's one of the, I guess, I don't know if it's, don't quote me, I could be like not 7 wonders of the world, but it's considered like one of the wonders of the world. And you're there. It's so big, you can't even really fully get it in a photo. But it's like, it's so incredible because just, again, you've read about it in a book, you've seen it on screen, and you're on this little train making your way, and you get there. And you're like, I am here. Like, this is real. So now you're going to see those pyramids. They're going to be everything and more, and it's going to be incredible. So good. Yes.
How can I be like you when I grow up?
Oh, gosh. No. I feel like that is like, if I could stop anything in the world, it's like all we need to do, any of us, is like work on being ourselves. Like, if I can give anyone anything, is say like, okay, look at some of the lessons and maybe some of the things that I've done, but you are on such a beautiful path and like in such a beautiful space now. Like all you have to do is just be like this jasmine blossom and literally continue to bloom. Like that's it.
Thank
that
you.
is it. Like that is, oh my gosh, like that's all you have to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you tell me about your personal and professional journey and your roadmap for success?
I'm like, my roadmap for success is like a jigsaw that goes down and around and up and then over and then outside and then back inside. There is no straight line. Like I couldn't have like sat, where I was at your age and said like, I'm going to be doing these 3 things. 'Cause I think when I was your age, because how old are you?
9.
You're 9. I feel like when I was 9, like I just was like, I want to be Whitney Houston. Like there was no real specification of like what that meant, other than like that was really like the beginning and the end of the goal. And, as I've gotten, as I of course got older and, I think I said for a while, like, I want to be an attorney, I want to be a lawyer. But I was just kind of regurgitating what other people said I should do. And I think that, I know that, I found my freedom when I started just saying, what do I really want to do and want to experience? So much of my life, especially the last, I would say 15 years, has been about like me just going like, let me see.
Yes.
Like, let me see. And you'll find that if you keep it like, let me see. Because sometimes it's going to turn out like, let me see. And it's like, oh, not that. But sometimes that let me see will lead you to like unexpected like blessings and experiences and paths. And what I will say about like the success in quotes of my life has come from that, has just been from being open. I've always been a worker, meaning like I'm not afraid of like trying and doing the actual work to find out, to learn or to, to get something done. And also like I've always done my best to be very kind to the people around me, because you can be the most talented, you can be the most accomplished, but if you are not nice, there is no true success that will come, because it's not going to be sustainable. People won't want to help you. They won't want to look out for you. They won't want to say, hey, like Bailey would be great. Let me call Bailey, because somebody's going to be like, oh, well, we worked with Bailey last time and she was a lot, or she was this, or she was that. So those have been the pieces. If I could say any like keys to my quote unquote like success or my forward movement in life, have been those: a willingness to work, being kind, doing my best to stay humble, and just always staying open.
And I think also having a deep curiosity, because I think children have this inborn need
to
like, really
you gotta
learn.
Know, like why,
why, like I'll hear things and I'm like, why? Like, okay, you told me that pandas are black and white.
Right. Why are they black and white? Exactly.
Why aren't they green and pink?
Right.
I like green and pink, so why are they green and pink?
So can they be? Exactly.
Right. But I think kids have that inborn curiosity.
Absolutely.
And I think that is something they should follow, of course, with guidance and help. But I think that they should follow that discovery. They should go on that path and see where it leads them, see where it takes them.
The challenge will be, though, and this I will even say for someone like you who is so gifted, is that when you are very gifted and very naturally curious, like the world, like it's not something that the world says that they support that, but I feel like the world does not really support true curiosity. There comes a point where I think as a child you're encouraged to be curious, and then all of a sudden it's like something happens one day and everybody's like, you're asking too many questions, we need you to do this, we need you to sit here, we need you to be quiet, we need you to decide. And what I would just challenge any young person to do is to hold on to that curiosity and that spirit of curiosity, with everything that you have, because the world will try to take it from you, and it's going to be the thing that like keeps your life special and open and keeps the world open to you, for sure.
Where can people find you online?
People can find me online at Africa Miranda on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and I guess so at Africa Miranda, and that's my real first and last name on all social platforms. And you can find me drinking this tea. That's where you can also find me. You can find me with Bailey, and we're going to be drinking more of this tea.
Yes. My mentors are successful and their advice is valuable. Thank you so much, Auntea Africa. This was a beautiful conversation. I had a great time. I learned so much. And, thank you for being here with me today.
Honey, thank you for blessing me, okay? This was such a joy, and, it is nice to take the host hat off and put it down and give it to someone who is so, is so great at, just leading a conversation and creating a space for, your guests to share. So I'm very, very thankful, and thank you. Thank you for having tea with me.
Yes. Cheers. Cheers.